guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video talking about the brushes that I use in my kit for my clients. I'll have the canisters listed down below of where I got them on Amazon, and the canisters that I had in my old place, I'll list that above as well. These are actually pencil holders. That's what I use to hold my brushes. So enough of that. We're gonna jump into the face brushes first. So I'm gonna actually separate it into category. So these are the brushes that I use on the face. 90% of my brushes are from Real Techniques. I like to use Real Techniques brushes because they're affordable and they're easy to find. I get them from Ulta, Target, Walmart. Some pharmacies carry them, Walgreens, CVS, but for the most part I order them from Ulta. When it's the buy one get one free, that's when I bulk up on my Real Technique brushes. So we're gonna start off with foundation brushes. So for the face, I like to use the Real Technique Instapop brushes. The orange one is the older one and the pink color is the newer version, but they're exactly the same. I guess they just wanted to update the design. So this is the Instapop foundation brush that I like to use. I like the fact that it's a dense brush. So as you can see, it's very dense, and what this means is that there is a whole bunch of brush hairs in it. So that's what a dense brush is, when there's a lot of hairs or bristles in the brush, as you can see. I also like the fact that it's angled. So I like the shape of the brush. I like the fact that it's dense. And also you want to always use a synthetic brush when you are using liquid foundations. So this foundation, it just makes it easier to blend. It makes everything nice and smooth. This is my favorite brush. A lot of people like to ask me what I used before I used the Instapop, and I'll have that on the side screen. I used to always use BH Cosmetics foundation brushes, but when I discovered this, thanks to Vanity Throne on Instagram, I stopped all that and I ran and got all of these. Another brush that I use for the face is the Instapop cheek brush. So this is the same exact brush, but it's just on a smaller scale. So you can use this for highlight, contour, or all over the face. It really just depends. I use this for foundation, highlight, contour, all of that. And I also use the bigger brush for, as you see on my channel, I use the bigger brush for highlight as well. If you are new to, for my powder application, 95% of the time I'm using the Real Techniques. This is their blush brush actually. So this is what the brush looks like. It's just a very fluffy dome brush and pretty dense as well. It is synthetic, but it works well for powders. And I use this for powders, not really for blush, which is what it's intended for, but it works really well for powders. Real Technique also has a powder brush that I use sometimes. I don't use it all the time because it's just so freaking big. Like, this brush is mad big, so I use it sometimes, but I do have it in my kit to use. I have a few of them, so I'll use it. And if you guys are wondering why I have this pink tape on some of my brushes, it's because when you go and you do weddings with other artists, or if you work with another artist like me and my bridal assistant, we have a lot of the same brushes and we used to get them mixed up. So I just decided to put tape on my brushes just to indicate which one is mine, which works really well. Even if you're working with people that you don't know, you hope people are honest. And sometimes, like, I've taken people's brushes home by mistake. So this just helps you know, like, if a brush is yours or if it's not yours. So now I'm gonna move on to the smaller brushes that's in my kit. All of these brushes I use a lot. Don't mind the white stuff on the brush. These brushes are all clean as you can. Well, most of them are clean, but we're not even gonna talk about the white stuff on the brush. So these are the Real Technique setting brush. You've seen me use these on my channel. I use these to set the under eye concealer. I use these to apply concealer underneath the eyes. A lot of makeup artists like to use these brushes for highlighter. This is a really good brush, and every time I see it on sale, I buy them because the price varies. I used to buy them for $3.99. Now I see them for $7.99. So when I see them at a price that I like, I try to buy them. And then all of these other little brushes are brushes that I use for the eyebrows. Everybody knows. Well, everybody may not know, so let me not say that, but I use the MORPHE. This brush actually looks different now. They changed the brush, but this is the brush that I use for eyebrow sculpting. You can use this brush for a cut crease. You can use my cut crease technique where I mold the brush if you would like. So you can use that for that. And then these are the brushes that I use to cut the crease. I have a few of these, but I don't know where the other ones are. But this is the MAC. The bigger one is the MAC 242. The small one is just a random brush from the beauty supply store. I've shown these brushes before on my channel, and I'll link the video down below to how I get the brush to be super flat so I can cut the crease. This is an older brush. I only have one left, but this is e.l.f. e.l.f. has these concealer brushes which are really, really good. I just stopped using them. I don't use them as much because I switched to something else, but these are $3, I think. So they're really good for your kit. It's a really good quality brush. I've washed this many times and it never broke. I just lost the other ones just throughout time, but this is a really good brush. This is another Real Techniques brush that I like to use. This is a concealer brush as well, if I'm not mistaken. Everything will be listed down below. I won't put the links down because that's a lot, but I will name every single brush. What is this? Yeah, the Expert Concealer Brush. I use this on the eyes a lot. So when you see me doing like a soft cut crease or like a soft lid, I'm most likely using a brush like this to apply the base so that it's nice and smooth, and then apply the shadow on top. Alright, so now we're going to move on to all of my brushes that I use for bronzer, blush, contour, all of that. So I'm just going to pull out my favorite ones that I use all the time. The other brushes that I won't show is something that I don't think is necessary or not a must-have. I'm going to show all of the must-haves from this. So the first three brushes I'm going to show you, these are all from Morphe. The first brush, which is an angled blush brush. This is the M405. This is my utmost favorite brush for blush. It's the best brush you can use for blush. So this is what I always use. And then the brush in the middle is a brush that I use for highlighter. This is the best highlighting brush I've come across. I discovered this in Ricky's a few years ago, and I've been using it ever since. So this is my favorite brush for highlight. It applies a highlight very like smooth and airbrushed. So I like that. And then this is the Morphe M500. This is a great brush for bronzer, a soft contour. You can even use it for blush and highlight. It's very versatile. So yeah, these are my three must-have Morphe cheek brushes. I forgot this one. This is the highlighting brush from Morphe too. This one is really old. I'll have the name of it down below, but it's good for highlight. I don't really use it for highlight that much. Believe it or not, sometimes I use this for like an eyeshadow look. If I'm doing something like really quick and easy, this does a good job of diffusing a color in the crease. But yeah, this is something that I used to use for highlight. It's still a really good brush, but I don't use it as much because I use the other one that I just showed you. These brushes are brushes that I got from Shop Miss A. So they're like concealer brushes, and I mean, you can use them for like highlight or contour. They come in handy. I kind of use them for miscellaneous things, honestly. I'll use them to apply like milk and magnesia or any, like, I'll randomly use these brushes. Sometimes it's good to just have like cheap random brushes in your kit to just use for things that you don't want to use your other brushes for. I think they were like $1 or $2. They're really cheap. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what everybody cares about the most, which is the eyeshadow brushes. These are most of my eyeshadow brushes in here. First, I'm going to start off with the brushes that I like to use to conceal the concealer around the eyebrow. All of these brushes are from BH Cosmetics. Some are the Studio brush number 3, I think, and the other ones is the vegan number 5 brush. Pretty much the same brush. Nice synthetic fluffy brush. Works really well with the concealer. Perfect size, so I could blend the concealer underneath and on top of the eyebrow. I also use it on the lid to blend out the eyeshadow base. I use these brushes for a lot. They come in handy, versatile, and cheap. So these are my top 3 eyeshadow brushes. I have a bunch of these, same 3 brushes. If you watch my tutorials, you know that I use the same 3 brushes to complete every single look. The first brush, which is the black brush, is the Sigma E40 brush. Amazing. It's an amazing eyeshadow brush. It's big, it's fluffy, so it's great to diffuse or blow out any eyeshadow color if you want it to be soft. So for the first eyeshadow I lay down, I usually use a brush like this because I know it's going to be nice and soft and diffused. And then the second brush is the Morphe M433 brush, which is a flat, fluffy brush. This is great for crease work since it's dense. As you can see, it's very dense and packaged and condensed. It's flat. You're gonna get more of a color payoff. You can place it right in the crease for more color payoff. I use this in the crease. I use it on the lid quite a bit. And then the last brush I'm talking about is the Morphe 441 brush. This is my favorite eyeshadow brush from Morphe. It's very versatile. It's very inexpensive. You can do a lot with this brush. I use this brush in the crease. I use this brush to blend things out. It's just a great brush, and I use this brush every single time I'm doing an eyeshadow look. I use all 3 brushes every single time, but I really love this brush. So these brushes are also from Morphe. I have a bunch of these. These are really great to use on the lower lash line because they're really small, they're really detailed. They can get into that area comfortably and easily for your client. And this is a natural hair brush, so it's easy to pick up your pressed powders, your pressed eyeshadows with, and the color payoff is great. So great for smudging colors or popping colors on the lower lash line. You could even use this on the lid if you want to. But yeah, this is a really great brush, very inexpensive once again. One more brush I want to show you. This is one of my favorite Morphe brushes. So it looks like this, and this is really great to like blend out concealer as well. I use this as a concealer brush. Sometimes I use it as a eyeshadow brush. I have a few of these as well. It's just like a miscellaneous brush that's multi-purpose. So alright, you guys, so as you can see, my brush collection is short of fancy. Everything is pretty basic and easy to find. Real Techniques and Morphe brushes are very inexpensive, good quality, and easy to find, as well as BH Cosmetics and e.l.f. Cosmetics. All of my brushes are duplicates, so I stick to the same thing once I find out that I love them, and I just buy plenty of them. I didn't always have an extensive brush collection. I remember when I could only afford 5 foundation brushes and 5 eyeshadow brushes, you guys. So just stay encouraged, learn how to budget out money from the money you're bringing in from clientele so that you can grow your kit as big as you would like. Also shop when there's sales, girl, because I stay shopping when it's a sale. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.